Saturday, they come Saturday before she came missing. She called me. She was like, TJ, I'm down at my mama's house. She say, if you want to see him, you can come down here. I'm like, Alexis was at her mother Alberta's house that Saturday. This is January 29th. She had driven there with both kids, about 80 miles from her apartment in Greenville, and she called TJ and said he could come see their son. But then she changed her mind. I'm like, okay, I'll come down there. Then she changed her mind, saying that, this week, let me spend more time with him. I'm like, what you mean spend more time with him? You don't had him for 2 weeks. I ain't seen my son. You ain't even let me video chat him. You know what I'm saying? So she like, just let me spend more time. I can feel you crying through him. What you mean you can feel him crying through me? I mean, through him. She told TJ she could feel their son crying through him. Like she had some kind of spiritual connection or premonition. Like she knew something bad was going to happen. So I'm like, the hell? I said, okay, Liz. I said, she said, but I said, can I get him Sunday, the next day? She was like, let me think about it. I said, okay, I ain't gonna argue with you. All right, cool. Get out the phone. So Sunday come. You know what I'm saying? This shit hurt my feelings so bad because at the end of the day, that's my child mother and I love her. You feel me? I know she been going through something mentally. I don't know what's going on and that shit hurt me. So that Sunday, I called my cousin. I said, cuz, you going to church? He was like, yeah. I said, man, I'm gonna pull up. I'm going to church today. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled up. I sat in the car. I ain't even get out the car. And I'm shedding tears because this shit hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen it like that. This man was sitting in his car outside church crying because he could see that something was wrong with the mother of his child. He knew she was going through something mentally, and it was hurting him because he still cared about her. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Before TJ went to church that Sunday morning, Alexis told him something that's going to make your skin crawl. Now, mind me now, before I went to church, Lex didn't even want me to go to church. She kept on saying, TJ, don't go to church. I keep seeing you dying in oncoming traffic like a car gonna hit you head on. She was having visions of him being taken out in a head-on collision. She begged him not to go to church because she kept seeing him being hit by a car. She saw me a car crash, which I got in my inbox, so somebody got killed on a head-on car crash. She sent him a message about somebody who got taken out in a head-on car crash. She was trying to warn him, or maybe, and this is what's so chilling, maybe she was trying to tell him that she had done something, that she had put something on him, that whatever she was involved in spiritually was targeting him next. But TJ's response shows you the kind of person he is. Yes, I'm like, man, listen, one thing about it, you can't stop death. You feel me? Like, whatever happened, gonna happen. I ain't scared of it. I ain't scared of death. You know what I'm saying? We all gotta go. So, I went on to church anyway. She begged me not to go. I went on anyway. So, we left church, came home, chain clothes, and went to the game and watched the NFC and the ALC game. Went to, Wild Wings. You know what I'm saying? Watched the Kansas City game up there, Wild Wings. Left Wild Wings, went to my aunt's house. You feel me? It's Sunday afternoon now, January 30th, 2022. TJ is at his aunt's house watching football, and that's when his phone rang. She called me. And I put on speakerphone, let my cousin hear how she talking out the side of her head. He put the phone on speaker so his cousin could hear what Alexis was saying. Because at this point, her behavior had gotten so concerning that TJ wanted a witness to what was happening. This is what Alexis said on that phone call. So she got there, she was like, she said, where you at? I said, I'm at my aunt's house watching the game. So she was like, well, come and meet me on 29 at 7-Eleven where you get the kids. She said, I'm about to run out of gas. I got like 3 miles left. I said, okay. So as she talking, she's like, TJ, watch out for these cars. Watch out for a white car, gray car, black car. She was warning him about specific colored vehicles. Like somebody was following them. Like somebody was coming for them. Now, mind me, now I'm like, okay, so I put on speakerphone, let my cousin and everybody hear. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. So my cousin like, boy, go get your son, boy. So I'm like, shit, I say no more. I doubt, no, we left. And TJ left to go meet Alexis at that 7-Eleven. But before we get to what happened at that gas station, we need to understand what else was going on with Alexis during this time. Because the phone call to TJ, the predictions about him being hit by a car, that wasn't even the most disturbing thing Alexis did that week. 4 days before she disappeared, on Wednesday, January 26th, something happened that was caught on camera. And when you see this footage, when you hear what Alexis said, you're going to understand why people are talking about root work, why people are talking about spells,
and why some people believe that whatever Alexis was involved in spiritually might have cost her everything. Alexis was living at Rocky Creek Apartments in Greenville. And on that Wednesday evening, one of her neighbors had a Ring doorbell camera. That camera captured Alexis walking up to their door. And what she said in that footage, what she was holding in her hand, it's going to change everything you thought you knew about this case. Now, before we talk about what Alexis said, we need to understand why she was at that neighbor's door in the first place. Because according to Alexis's family members who spoke publicly about this, the neighbor had seen something. They had witnessed Alexis in the backyard area of the apartment complex, and she was digging. The neighbor saw Alexis digging up or burying something, a box. And when Alexis realized she'd been seen, she went to that neighbor's door to explain herself. An activist named Tracy, who was helping with the search efforts later, actually went to Rocky Creek Apartments after Alexis disappeared. And Tracy confirmed that there was an area in the back that looked like something had been dug up. The ground was disturbed, but the box, nobody ever found it. To this day, we don't know where that box is or what was in it. But we do know what Alexis said when she knocked on that neighbor's door, and we can see what she was holding in her hand when she said it. The neighbor didn't open the door. They spoke to Alexis through the Ring camera. And the very first thing that came out of Alexis's mouth was this. What you know that I ain't gonna lie, I'd be like, we work good and bad. That's how she opened the conversation. Not, hey, how you doing? Not sorry to bother you. She led with root work, and she made sure to specify that she does both good and bad root work. Now, for those of you who don't know what root work is, let me explain real quick. Root work, also called hoodoo or conjure, is a traditional African American folk magic practice. It involves using natural items, herbs, roots, personal items to cast spells or influence situations. Some people use it for protection, for healing, for love, but it can also be used to cause harm, to control people, to curse people. And when you're doing root work, when you're casting spells, the items you use afterwards, they have to be disposed of properly. You can bury them in a yard, you can throw them in a river, you can take them to a crossroads. Some spells even require you to bury the items in a graveyard. And here's something specific that people who practice root work will tell you when you bury something in your yard, in your backyard, especially when you're doing love spells. It's to keep someone close to you. It's to bind them to you, to make sure they can't leave you or forget about you. So when Alexis was caught digging in that backyard, and she went to her neighbor's door holding what looked like a small garden spade or digging tool, and the first thing she said was, I do root work good and bad, she was explaining herself. She was letting them know what you saw me doing back there. That was intentional. That was spiritual work. And you need to understand that I know what I'm doing. But here's what makes this even more interesting. In that same Ring camera footage, Alexis started talking about an ex. She mentioned someone, a past relationship, and the neighbor asked if she was talking about her kid's father. The exact details of that part of the conversation aren't completely clear, but what we do know is that Alexis was connecting her root work to someone from her past. Now think about the timeline. This Ring doorbell footage happened on Wednesday, January 26th. 3 days before that, on Tuesday night at 1:30 a.m., Alexis had called TJ and told him my last 5 exes died. I wish death upon them. Was TJ one of those exes she was talking about? Was that box in the backyard connected to him? And if it was, what was she doing? Was she casting a spell, or was she breaking one? Because here's what some people who understand root work have pointed out. If Alexis was burying something, that means she was casting a spell or maintaining one. But if she was digging something up, that means she was trying to undo a spell. She was trying to break whatever she had put in motion. Remember what TJ said. Alexis called him on Sunday morning and told him she kept seeing him in a head-on car crash. She begged him not to go to church. She was terrified something was going to happen to him. What if Alexis had cast a death spell on TJ, buried it in that backyard, and then realized what she had done? What if she was trying to dig it up to save him? And what if, by doing that, she broke some kind of spiritual rule? What if she opened herself up to something she couldn't control? Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe spiritually, but what I am telling you is that Alexis believed it. She believed in what she was doing. And whatever was happening to her, whether it was spiritual or psychological, both, it was real to her. And it was terrifying. Let's go back to that final weekend at her mama's house because we need to understand what Alexis was telling her family. Alexis arrived at her mother Alberta's house on Friday, January 28th, with both of her children. She fed the kids and then went to sleep. Nothing seemed unusual that first night. But on Saturday, January 29th, things started to get concerning. Alberta noticed that Alexis wasn't acting like herself. She was scared. She was anxious. And then Alexis started telling her mother things that Alberta will never forget. Someone had been calling Alexis's phone all day, a number she didn't recognize, a number she had blocked, but somehow the calls kept getting through. Alexis showed her mother the phone. She showed her the blocked number list. The number was right there, blocked, but it was still calling, still getting through. And when Alberta asked her daughter who it was, Alexis said something chilling. She called the person the devil, not a name, not this guy I know, or someone from my past. She said the devil was calling her phone. Now, Alberta also mentioned that recently Alexis had gotten really into astrology. She was reading about her zodiac sign, about Pisces, about predictions and spiritual meanings. She was telling people to pay attention to certain things, like the road, like certain colors. She was talking about seeing things that were going to happen in the future. But on that Saturday at her mama's house, Alexis wasn't just reading horoscopes. She was terrified. She told her mother that someone in a black truck had been following her, not just once or twice. This had been going on for weeks. Every time she went somewhere, there was this black truck behind her. And then Alexis said something that broke her mother's heart. She started crying, and through her tears, she kept saying, "I'm not going to see my 30th birthday. I know I'm not going to make it to my birthday." Her 30th birthday was coming up in March, just 2 months away. And Alexis was convinced she wasn't going to live to see it. Alberta didn't know what to do. She didn't know if her daughter was having some kind of breakdown, if someone was really threatening her, or what was happening. But she knew her baby was scared. She knew something was wrong. The next day, Sunday, January 30th, Alexis got ready to leave. She was going to drive back to Greenville with the kids. But Alberta didn't want her to go. After everything Alexis had said the night before, after seeing how scared she was, Alberta begged her to stay. At first, Alexis agreed. She said she would stay. But then she changed her mind. She told her mother she was okay. She got dressed, did her hair and makeup, and said she was heading home. Alberta watched her daughter leave around noon. And according to what Alberta told the media later, Alexis told her she was exhausted and was going straight home to take a nap. At 3 p.m. that afternoon, Alberta called Alexis on FaceTime to check on her. And Alexis answered right away. She was in her bed, just like she said she would be. She told her mother she was taking a nap and would call her back when she got up. But here's what happened next, and this detail is crucial. According to reports, after that FaceTime call, Alexis saw something outside her apartment that terrified her. There was a black truck outside, the same black truck she'd been telling people was following her. And there was someone inside it. Alexis called the police. We don't know exactly what happened when the police came, if they actually spoke to her or just drove by the area. But what we do know is that after the police left, Alexis made a decision. She got her kids, she got in her car, and she left her apartment. A few hours later, she called TJ and asked him to meet her at the 7-Eleven so she could give him the children. Now let's get back to TJ's account of what happened at that gas station. Because his description of how Alexis was acting, what she was saying, it's going to show you just how afraid this woman was. TJ pulls up to the 7-Eleven on Highway 29 in Anderson, South Carolina. It's about 7:30 p.m. on Sunday, January 30th.